Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles, and I welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And boy, oh boy, we have an episode here for you guys. So just stick around for this one because I may go off in this particular video right here. So let's just get into it right here. You know, I have to say, this Lakers team is like the gift that just keeps on giving. It's like the gift that keeps on giving. At this point, this thing is turned into what we call a broken record. The Lakers, as we're all fully aware, and I think it's important that we always reiterate this at the beginning of these videos because it gives what we're saying a lot of context and depth. The Lakers this season were picked to be the team to come out of the Western Conference, and I think they had the third best odds to win the entire championship, I think behind the Nets and the Bucks, if I'm not mistaken. And early in the season, LeBron was so confident about their chances that he publicly scolded all of us that had questions about this team on Twitter. Those of us that were questioning the roster construction and their legitimacy. He told us now, which has turned into an infamous tweet, keep that same energy. For all of you guys doubting us, all of these different, it won't go away. Do you know why it won't go away? Because if the Lakers had won, a lot of you guys would have been bringing it up. You see, he told you to keep the same energy and blah, 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 and he did it. After the first 20 games this season, I knew that this team was going to be a terrible team. Why do I know this? Because I think they lost every single preseason game that they played. But, historically, I don't put a lot of, stock in preseason games, but they lost all of their preseason games. And they started the season with a 10-10 record, even though I think they had the easiest schedule to start off the season. And I think they had the majority of probably 75% of their first 20 games were at home, and they had a 10-10 record. So after the first 20 games, I was out on this team. But some people were holding on to their hope and faith. Oh, no, you don't know. You don't know. LeBron is coming. The Lakers are coming. They're going to get it together, blah, 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 blah. And what ended up happening? This team did not even make it into the bloody play-in tournament. They were only able to win 2 consecutive games, I think in like 3 months, at the end of the season when they sat their best players. And Frank Vogel said, I think when they got their second to last win of the season, he said, when they asked him, how come you guys were able to win this game? And he basically said, we decided to play defense. This is a key term that very few people are talking about, the apologists, right? So that's really how the Lakers season ended. So this morning I woke up, opened up my phone, and what's the first thing that pops up on Instagram? Some comments from LeBron James on ESPN. Quickly scroll through it, then I went online to actually listen to the full, exit interview that he had, to close out the season. And what he said in this interview totally floored me. I couldn't believe what this guy was saying when they asked him why this team underperformed this season. So for those of you who missed what he said, we want to play some of the comments that he made, and then we're going to come back here and react to it.
What was the frustration level around, obviously, you having an MVP caliber season, an unprecedented season, and then the team having such a mediocre season? And just follow to that, you've made it clear that you wanted to stay in the league until your son comes up. How much longer do you think you can maintain this level of play?
To answer your first question, winning is everything to me. And the fact that I was playing the way I was playing and it wasn't resulting in wins just, wasn't enough. The frustration level was definitely at a high at times, and because you're just trying to figure out how can you be better and figure out how the team can be better. And then you hit with COVID protocols, and guys are in and out, and then you hit with injuries, things of that nature, and you never just really get a full sample size of what the team can possibly be. Because I was watching the game last night, and I think last night was our 40th starting lineup, 41st. That's literally half the season. 41 starting. Wow. So it's just you never get an opportunity to see what the ball club could have been. So, but definitely frustrating for sure.
So basically, let me get this straight. LeBron is basically saying that the reason that this team missed the playoffs is because they were not healthy. Let me tell you something. This is the most embarrassing and laughable excuse you can give. Of all of the excuses that you can give as to why this team underperformed, this one is the most laughable one of them all. It is so laughable, in fact, that Irvin Magic Johnson, just about a week or so ago, was on ESPN First Take. He was talking to Stephen A. Smith. He was reacting to some of the comments that Anthony Davis had to make. And Anthony Davis was up there talking about, well, I wonder, no one really knows what this team could have been if we got injured. And Magic Johnson said, stop making excuses. Don't nobody want to hear that about some damn what the team would have been if we weren't injured. This is a terrible and embarrassing excuse. Do you know why it is? Because literally half of the teams in the NBA can use that very same excuse. And if somebody else can use your exact excuse, it's not a good excuse. It's not unique or exclusive to you. It's not like as if the Lakers were the only team that was dealing with injuries. I've said it all season. I'm going to say it again. The success of the Los Angeles Clippers right across the hallway has totally exposed this Laker team. Whatever excuse they wanted to use, the success of the Clippers totally exposes them. He's talking about we weren't healthy. Kawhi Leonard has played a grand total of 0 games for the Los Angeles Clippers. He is the only Hall of Fame player on that roster. He is the only top 75 player on that roster. He hasn't played a single game. Paul George, who's their second best player, who's an all-star, played 31 of the available 82 games this season. He missed about a third of the season. So help me understand something. How is it possible that the Lakers finished 16 games under 500, yet the Clippers finished 2 games over 500 with a winning record? Meanwhile, they did not have any of their stars whatsoever. Russell Westbrook of the 82 games played 78 games and LeBron James played 56 games. Those two players could not even get you, think about this, more than 32 wins on the season. Essentially what that means is even when they were there, they were not there. That's what that means. You cannot use injuries as an excuse. It is laughable and it's shameful. Look at Nikola Jokic. He hasn't been with 2 of his best players, and he's about to be the regular season MVP. Jamal Murray hasn't played a single game this season, and Michael Porter Jr. has been injured. So how do you explain their success? How do you explain it? It is embarrassing, but you know what? I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. With LeBron, there's always an excuse. It's always somebody else. If it's not the coach, it's the weather. If it's not the weather, it's the guy at the arena. If it's not the arena, it's the food that they had, the caterer. It's always somebody else. And what's sad is that all of these excuses are coming from the best player on the team, from the leader. This is just one of the reasons I have LeBron as the 7th ranked greatest player of all time. It's too much. You can't overlook this. This is embarrassing. If this is a leader, the leader's full of excuses. Own up to it. You guys were a terrible defensive team. You talked a lot of trash and you couldn't back it up. Period. End of story. That is it. That's all you had to say, and you would get more respect from people. But this thing of, is the end? Like, cut it out, bro. You guys are full of excuses. It's enough. It's enough. So to me, listen, if this is what the Lakers are saying, if this is what they feel is the reason why their season was derailed, then they're totally clueless, and they're going to be even worse next season, in my personal opinion. What I know is when the Lakers won the championship, they were one of the top 3 defensive teams in the NBA. Last year, they weren't. Maybe there's a correlation. These are my thoughts. What do you think about what this guy had to say? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode.